Welcome back everyone to our Everton Career Mode. It's episode 7 and we're going to be finishing off the month of December here. We've got 5 games, a lot to go through. I'm sorry I haven't uploaded, guys. I've been feeling absolutely terrible. I had the flu, such a high fever, and I was so tired. I had a cough and I couldn't upload. I'm trying to get back into things now. I apologize if I'm not 100% or if I'm not up to my usual energy, but I'll give it a go here. Our first game today is against Crystal Palace. Off the back of the Arsenal and Liverpool draws, hopefully, I expect we should be getting a win here. We really need 3 points to catch up to that 5th position. Palace plays in a classic counter-attacking system. From what I remember, they've been playing this for a number of years now. They always have pace up front, and that's the main thing you need to watch out for with Palace. They'll give you the ball, but they'll punish you on the break. And like I said, they have pace up front. Even now, they can throw a number of different players at you. Hudson Edouard, their new signing. Wilfried Zaha obviously is the main man. Michael Olise, Eze making an appearance up front isn't too far-fetched either. They got Ayew still, so a number of players they can throw at you. And behind them, obviously, they have a young Conor Gallagher and Milojevic, who are sort of more technical players anchoring the midfield and trying to make things happen. So they're fairly dangerous. And their weakness, I would say, is their defense. And even the way they set up here, that's not even their starting defense. And you can see it's sort of weak. I don't know these players too well. They even dropped Milojevic into CB, so we're going to have to take advantage of that. Bottom line is, just attack them make mistakes, and don't let them counter you. You should be able to win this game against Palace. We're going to set up 4-4-2. Nothing too special. Our strongest starting lineup, just so that we guarantee this win. And we'll think about the next games against Chelsea and Leicester after this. We need to guarantee these 3 points.
Please make some noise as we welcome our visitors Everton and your equals Crystal Palace. And here's your Crystal Palace lineup. Number 13, Guaita.
Okay guys, Palace was a lot worse than I thought they would be defensively. Just look at this first play of the game. It's just a comedy of errors. Richarlison picks it up. It's a simple finish. Goalie doesn't cover himself in glory, but if you're going to give Richarlison chances like that, he's going to finish them all game long. And Palace was just absolutely shocking defensively this game. Specifically, Jarosław Jach, their CB, just had an absolute torrid game. That initial clearance was his. It was a mistake. But sometimes you say a player doesn't put a foot wrong in a game. He honestly didn't put a foot right this game. He was absolutely shocking. We'll get back to him in a second. Richarlison gets it a few minutes later on the wing, and he's trying to create space off the dribble. He does, gets a good shot off. This time the goalie saves it, and he was lively the entire game. Always asking questions and always a threat inside and outside the box. Against Palace, he had a field day. And again, this next chance highlights how good he is, but just how absolute garbage the defense and in specific Jach was this game. It's a nice play, a little pirouette pass. Richarlison, great movement to get there. Twice in front of Jach, and on the rebound he scores. But that you cannot let the attacker get the better of you and get ball side of you twice in the same play. It's unforgivable. I mean, he had the positional advantage here. Richarlison gets behind him twice. It's actually shambolic. And here he again makes a mistake. He gets pulled to the ball a little bit too much. Richarlison runs in behind him, and it's very fortunate that Palace was down 3-0. You cannot defend like that. You really can't. But Richarlison, great movement, and honestly, I should have finished this chance. And it's a pretty common theme, apparently, in this series that I can't finish one-on-ones. I'm trying different things out, and I'm slowly getting better. Yeah, Palace didn't have much going on. They had one chance late in the first half, and Pickford made a good save. And this is sort of how they got back into the game, because they had a corner off of this, you're going to see in a second, and an unfortunate thing happens because Dean is standing there and he picks up an injury, like just standing there, and he can't clear the ball properly. Kouyaté gets on the end of it and smashes in the back of the net. So that was a bit of a freak injury and a freak goal. Unfortunate for us because we had all the momentum and Palace only really had this one chance during the game. That one shot and this, obviously this goal, but okay, good finish. But it was all down to that freak injury. I played really safe, and Palace couldn't really create anything because they're not really a team set up to break you down. So I played it really safe for the rest of the game, and I just had one chance on the counter here. Gray puts an excellent ball in. Rondon just dinks it in for Calvert-Lewin, and it's 3-1. We put the game away. I didn't want to risk it. This was a really important 3 points, and especially for such an easy game, you can really get complacent. I didn't want to lose these 3 points. We ended up picking them up, and that is the most important thing against Palace here. That's 5 points in our last 3 games, and it's not bad. We do need to continue to push on. It's just going to be a slog of a December, but we got the win here. Okay, guys, so Dean is out for 4 weeks, and this is such unfortunate news because he's the only player that I cannot replace. This is the only position I don't have cover for. Sean Rogers in the youth team is still a little bit too young. He's only a low 60. I'm not going to put him in for such pivotal games that we have coming up. Look, guys, we play Chelsea and Leicester. They're 5th and 6th. We're 5 points away from them. These are just massive, massive games, and we need to pick up points at the very least. The very bare minimum is that we don't distance ourselves from these teams. We need to get at least draws. And Chelsea away for the first game is just going to be so tough. They play a 5-2-3 or a 3-4-3, if you will, and their strengths all lies in that wide area being exploited by those fullbacks, but that's all predicated and possible by the fact that they have such good central midfielders. I mean, Conte is just world class. He'll cover every blade of grass for you. Probably best CDM there is. And he's paired with Jorginho, who is an orchestrator of the game and just makes everything tick from that deep line playmaker position. Behind them, they have such good CBs. They play 3 of them, and it just adds such a good backbone. And they're so defensively hard to break down because of this. They have Rudiger, Silva, Christensen, whether they play sometimes as Pilaqueta or Chalobah even coming off as a young player. They just have such good, well-rounded, aerially good, high mobility CBs that it's really difficult with Conte in front of them to break them down and get any goals. And that allows their fullbacks to roam forward, whether it be Chilwell, Azpilicueta, or Reece James, or anyone. It gives them license to go forward. That's where Chelsea has their identity. It's all anchored with Lukaku in the middle as the focal point. Now that they have him, that team is really complete, and this allows them to sort of put the ball into his feet and let the team move up forward. It's just, this is going to be a really difficult game. We're going to have to figure out how to deal with it. Defensively speaking, we don't have Dean in this game. Godfrey actually playing there isn't bad. It adds us defensive solidity. We're going to go with a 4-3-3, and I understand that they don't have men in midfield specifically packing the center, but I have Allen and Davies to covered wide areas, covered from those central positions covered wide, so hopefully we'll be sort of able to have enough men behind the ball where Chelsea won't be able to create too much. I'm playing Mina and not Holgate because I want Lukaku to always feel a physical presence on him, and hopefully we can at least shut that down. And we're just going to have to play our best so that we don't get beat in the wide areas. All right, guys, here we go.
Teams to the pitch. Here's how Chelsea are lining up. Number 16, Edward Mendy. Number 28, Azpilicueta. Number 24, Reece James.
So there wasn't too much in this game, and it's because that's the way I set up. I didn't want to lose this game. I just first and foremost wanted to stay solid defensively. They had a few half chances, Chelsea, in the first half, but it was generally a cagey affair. Mina and Keane did pretty well physically against Lukaku, so I'm happy with that. And we had, I think, one chance off a corner, and it almost went in, but just not much to talk about in the first half because I set up, instead of to win the game, I set up not to lose the game, and I'm fine with that in certain situations. They did have one period in the game right at the beginning of the first half where They unraveled me just a little bit because they started playing the way they wanted to. Lukaku with great hold-up play. Eventually, it came to Ziyech, who cut in off the wing, and Pickford had to make a really good save. They had a spell of possession here for about 5 minutes, which they dominated me, and this is where, unfortunately, we lost a goal off of these corners. Kante sprints, gets it short, and they move it around well. Reece James gets a shot. It's another save by Pickford. Slowly, this pressure is mounting, and I'm feeling it because you continually defend deep, and you're eventually, you know, soaking this pressure, and it's sort of daunting. They have another corner here, and Conte again gets it short, and they play it around, and then this time what happens is they pass and pass in the box, and I can't put a tackle in. It's my fault. I should have put in a more decisive tackle, but I was focused more on keeping shape and letting the players defend it themselves, because I feel like this is a decent, viable tactic in FIFA. This time it didn't work, and there was just too many passes. I eventually got unraveled, disorganized. Zia got it, and it's in the back of the net. Pickford could have done better. There was a number of things that could have happened in this play. Unfortunately, it didn't. Pickford dove the wrong way in the end, and it's 1-0. Unfortunately, all our good defense goes out the window with that one play, but this is what you kind of try to have to do. Like, if I exposed myself too much, they would have had a much easier route, and then these counters probably would have been already 2 or 3-0. We had one last chance in this game. Actually, one last chance. What am I saying? We had practically one chance in this game other than that corner, and this was it. On the counter, we run at them. I see that I'm going nowhere. I switch the play. We move it well, and Gordon cuts it back to Iwobi, who puts it in the back of the net. It's Iwobi, guys, again. Iwobi scoring a massive goal, first to tie Liverpool in the Merseyside derby, and now to get us the tying goal against Chelsea, and I'm going nuts. It's Iwobi. I'll give him the credit, even though honestly it was Edouard Mendy's mistake. Unbelievable how he didn't save this. It was right at him. I'll take it anyway I can get it. I will. And we got a result here. On the basis of our defensive play, we should have, in hindsight, we went down and we shouldn't have got a goal because that should have been saved. But it's 1-1 and I will take it. Okay, guys, one game down. We did good. Minimum achieved. We kept ourselves within that 5 points of Chelsea, and now it's on to Leicester. I'm not going to do a tactical analysis just because the squad is so different. I'm not going to try to guess what they're going to do. Just going to talk a little bit about us. Holgate has to play on the right because Coleman is tired. We're going to go back to our 4-4-2 because this is a game we can actually get maybe something a little bit more from, and we're going to try our best and be as attacking as possible. Iwobi is rewarded with a start after rescuing that game for us against Chelsea.
Welcome the visitors, the Foxes, and your very own Toffees, Everton! And the Everton lineup is here. Number 1, Jordan Pickford.
Okay, so just because I didn't do a tactical analysis doesn't mean this game wasn't tough. They brought in and rotated guys like Iheanacho and Maddison, so that's no pushover. We started off positively with Gray having a chance, and I thought we would kick on and play a lot more positively than we did. But what ended up happening is I couldn't play Coleman and Dean. We had to play Holgate and Godfrey at fullback, and that just killed us because A, we couldn't do anything going forward. We had no creativity, and the second thing was that they pressed us out wide there, and I didn't have enough ball skill to keep the ball, so Leicester ended up having the majority of ball possession, and they started creating these little half chances, Iheanacho first and Soumare here, from distance, and they suffocated the game. I couldn't get anything going. Here they have another chance in the second half. Pickford is forced to make a decent save. The problem was that it wasn't that they were so dangerous, it was that I couldn't create anything. That wide area was completely devoid of any delivery. They can't cross, and I had to start playing through the center a little bit more. I created one chance, and in games like this, it's that one chance you have to take, or else you're not going to get anything from the game. That was the case here. I squared it to Richarlison. It's so frustrating. Like, why didn't he just kick it harder? unfortunately, that is just how it goes. And we had one, maybe sort of not even. This is not even a halftime. This is just a prayer. Allen scuffs it. It's saved, and that was the game. We couldn't, because of our injuries, and because of the way Leicester capitalized on it. We didn't get 3 points that we probably should have in this game. We also didn't take our one chance in the game. Unfortunately, it's another draw. It's the minimum that we got, and that's good, but it's just 0-0. All right, before we move on here, a shout out to Steve from the comment section. Thank you so much, man. It was great input. I took your advice. I sent the scout to Portugal. Hopefully we can find some talent there, and I compiled a list of guys. We're going to look at who to bring in here in the winter, potentially in the summer of next transfer window. If anyone else has any other suggestions, comments, if you want to see a specific player in the series, or if you have a player who you think fits us tactically, engage in the comment section, leave a comment, and I'll more than happily look at it and scout these players. Let's make this series ours, not only mine. We're going to move on though here because this is a heavy match episode. On to Burnley. This is a repeat fixture, so I'm not going to go into a full tactical analysis, but when we played with them last time, we found it hard to break them down. We only did so in the 70th minute, so we're going to have to not fall into the trap of fighting aerially with them, find a way to play on the ground and break them down, especially if we can early on in the game.
Please make some noise as we welcome our visitors, Everton, and welcome to the pitch, the Clarets! And the Clarets line up as follows. Number 1.
Alright guys, so this was our first repeat game, and what you always want to do is you want to learn from your mistakes, and this time around we did. Early on we got a great goal to start off. I think it was like the 10th minute. Calvert-Lewin latches on to a pass from Townsend, and it's 1-0. And the thing we did differently than the first time we played Burnley is we didn't force it out wide. What we did was we played through the middle and we played nice little tidy passes. Calvert-Lewin got on the end of it and finished. And this is exactly what we needed from this game. Now, Burnley did create a few chances, and they worked a nice little ball in here into the box. Pickford had to make a great save. So it's not like Burnley weren't in the game. They were. But much of like in the first game, they were sort of feeding off of scraps for a lot of the time. And this time, we weren't facing a team that's sitting low block, and we have to beat him because we had an early goal, so we were able to play a little bit more free-flowing. We got a second here again. Our first thought normally would be cross. No, this time we cut it back, and it's another goal. And this is sort of how our mentality changed. In the first game, in this tactic, I'm wired, okay, let's cross. At the beginning first, just to test it out. Always ask questions, put a cross in. With Burnley, I made the adjustment in my head that no, we're gonna make sure that we're gonna think cutback because they're quite good aerially and they're not gonna be easy to beat that way. Okay, this was not so good from Pope, but we had 2 chances and 2 goals. And after that, Burnley seemed to get a little bit flustered and not so organized in defense. And then we were able to put some crosses in. You saw that set piece earlier, and then here again we put it out to the wing, and we do put a cross. And then this time we have the momentum. We're pressing forward, and another set piece results from this. Keane flies in, and it's 3-0, and effectively the game is over. So this is exactly the blueprint that we needed to follow to win this game. And at halftime, the game was basically over. Keane celebrating against his old team. What a guy! Yeah, it was a really good, I thought, tactical adjustment to the first game, and that's what you want to see when you're facing a team the second time during the season or later on in the series. Just generally, you know how these teams play, you know the players, you know who they brought in since, so you have to make those adjustments. Elite managers make adjustments, and Burnley tried to make their own adjustments. They couldn't break me down because that's not really how they're set up to. We countered. Richarlison, it's 4-0. I actually finished a 1-on-1. This time I shot differently. I did a ground shot, which was suggested to me by my good friend, and it worked. It wasn't actually a clean ground shot. It was another error by the goalkeeper, Pope, but it was the type of shot, and it went in. So that was really encouraging, and we kept pressing and pressing. There was a few other chances in the game here. I think Iwobi gets a chance here after some good work from Richarlison. He's been actually doing pretty well, Iwobi, in recent games. So he gets a decent chance, but it's a real free-flowing game at this point because Burnley is disorganized. They've lost a number of goals, and they know they've lost this game. So that's how it goes. The Pope is nervy on the ball here, you can see, and I thought, yeah, let's have a go with Calvert-Lewin, like in the first game. This time Pope gets a hand to it, but I was having a little bit of fun at this point, and it was nice to have an easy win under the belt because this last month has been a grind. Every single result, draw or win, it has just been a grind. So it was nice to get a nice, easy 4-0 result here. Okay, guys, Doucouré is finally back for us. So that's a load off my mind. He's going to be a nice added bonus going forward. Other than that, nothing really to report from the menus. It's the calm before the storm. It's almost the end of the year, almost transfer window upon us. I'm going to end this episode with the last game of the year of 2021 with Newcastle United. A little tactical analysis on them. They play a 5-3-2. It's a true 5-3-2 that looks to sit back and counter you. They have pace up front, which allows them to do this in Wilson, on St. Maximin, and Gale if they decide to bring him on. In addition, they have threats from deep, goal-scoring midfielders in Almiron, Willock, so it's a team that may not be sound defensively. In fact, they're quite suspect, but if they get a run on you, they can be threatening. We're going to have a lot of substitutions here. Dean is still not available, and I don't have anyone to play because Godfrey has to fill in for Coleman on the right, so I'm going to play Iwobi there. He's decently fast, and he has good passing. Hopefully that'll be enough for us. I had to rotate Branthwaite in as well because we don't have CBs to cover this. I decided to give Rondon a go. Doucouré is thankfully back for us. But yeah, it's a really rotated squad, and we're going to have to pull out a result here at home against Newcastle.
Please make some noise as we welcome our visitors, Newcastle United, and your Everton. The Toffee Men line up as follows. Number 1, Jordan Pickford.
Okay, so early on, this game was pretty hectic, sort of back and forth. There was a number of chances for both sides in the first 20 minutes. First, we pinned Newcastle down, and we had a good spell of possession. We worked the ball into the box patiently. Richarlison got on the end of it, sort of snapshot, and it's 1-0 in the 10th minute. It's a great start. Great stuff from Richarlison. Great Selly too, eating everybody at this point. On current form, he's just so amazing. And I was buoyed because early on against Burnley, we were able to break a team down and sort of coast comfortably. And I thought this game would be the same. And that's good because a lot of the times you get bogged down in games like this and you're not able to do that. Unfortunately, Newcastle responded in sort of a comedy of error. Doucouré thought it was a good idea to sort of pirouette pass, and Gale gets it back. He thumps it into the back of the net, and I'm gutted again with these individual errors. But more so than that, like what exactly happened here? Because was it a little bit of maybe complacency, a little bit of loss of concentration after a goal? Sure, maybe a bit, but it's different this time, isn't it? Because we dealt with the initial cross. It's not like they attacked us, launched an assault or anything like that. They put a ball in and we couldn't deal with it. I got really pissed at that point. I just gave the ball to Richarlison. He did one little step over, bang, it's backed to 1, and I'm back to having a good mood because that goal was so amazing. Like, I just started running. I'm like, all right, that's it, I'm having a go. And he caressed it into the back of the net, into that corner, and I'm like, oh man, Richarlison, you are the man. This guy he's the best player on their team. I don't care. Calvert-Lewin's great. So is Dean. But this guy is... If he wasn't here, we would be nowhere near fighting for 5th. Look at this. Like, he does a step over and he just caresses it. It's not even that much curve, but he just... Oh, that was beautiful. But from then on, the game sort of died down, and the team that came up front was Newcastle. But hands down. And I know we're rotating the squad a lot, and I can't expect too much, but Newcastle's not the greatest squad. But they showed how to play some football here against us, and they had really nice passing play. Almiron here, another great save by Pickford, and they kept coming at me. First half, I weathered the storm a little bit, but then again, Gordon loses the ball. Dwight Gale has just a split-second chance, and we did what we could defensively against them, but they were always getting these little chances, and he dinks a shot in here. Pickford almost has the save. Maybe he would have had it. But again, they kept on coming, and what I realized they did was they weren't pacey on the counter, but they were really precise. This time they get the better of Branthwaite. This was their golden chance. It was their golden chance. He tried to square it, and Pickford made a really great decision to come out. And after that, the rebound luckily hit the post, or it would have been 2-2. They kept on coming through different parts of the game and had nice, intricate passing. Pickford had to, time and time again, bail us out, or this would have been a tie game or worse. 88th minute, they do it again. Branthwaite is just about fast enough to get to Gale, but Gale turns him inside. It's just wide in the 89th. Ooh, that was so close. This could have easily been a tie game. Fortunately, we come out with the 2-1 win. These are the games you have to grind out results even when you're not performing, and it's Richarlison. Again, Richarlison, who was the difference.